Swadika, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to today's Texas and Poland live online sessions entitled Food for the Future, the FoodTech Scene in Thailand, or rather Poland and Thailand. Live streaming via right now from Zoom to our Texas Facebook page, as well as the Polish Investment and Trade Investment, or PI Facebook page. I'm Chawarat Yongjiranon, or Pupe, a global content editor for Texas Media, and also your MC for today's sessions. Whether you're in the food tech industry or not, today's talk and sharing sessions is something that should not be missed, because ultimately the future of food and our lifestyles are counting on how we are able to sustain a healthy diet and also use technology to advance our lives for the better. So we're very excited indeed to share knowledge and inspire from both Thailand and Poland. And this would not have been made possible without crucial collaboration between Texas Media, the Polish Investment and Trade Agency, the Embassy of the Republic of Poland, and the Royal Thai Embassy Poland, Warsaw. For today's sessions, we bring you various keynote topics. They are first starting with the revolution of Thailand's food tech, telling you or giving you an insight on how developments have been here in the Kingdom of Thailand. And then we head on to Poland and take a look at Poland's unique food tech ecosystem, how we build the future for food tech industries. And lastly, we have 3 showcases on the advancement of modern food technology researched and developed by 3 key Polish companies. There are Polo Kurochak Company Limited, Cool Beans Company Limited, Ania Lona Company Limited. And to start off our session, it's with great honor that I welcome our partners to give the opening speeches or remarks. We have Mr. Norbert Bach, the head of Foreign Trade Office of Bangkok of Polish Investment and Trade Agency. His Excellency, Mr. Waldemar Dubarniowski, the ambassador of the Republic of Poland to the Kingdom of Thailand of the Embassy of the Republic of Poland. And last but not least, His Excellency, Mr. Chetapan Maksampan, the ambassador of the Kingdom of Thailand to the Republic of Poland, Royal Thai Embassy, Poland, Warsaw.
Thank you, Kun Chawarat, for the warm introduction. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome. Sawadee First, let me share my great enthusiasm for today. I would like to thank you all for coming and exploring the possible collaboration between Poland and Thailand within the food tech scene. My name is Norbert Bach, and I am the head of Polish Investment and Trade Agency, Bangkok office. We are a government agency from Poland. We help Polish companies from Poland do business in Thailand. We match them with Thai partners. Also, we assist Thai investors that look into Poland as an investment destination in Poland. We cover all the sectors. However, definitely food sector is our one of our top priorities. So why we focus on Poland and why we focus on Thailand today? On one hand, we have a Thailand, which is called often the kitchen of the world. So of course, we have amazing ingredients, great finished products, and amazing marketing for Thai cuisine that became famous all over the world. So in my home city, Warsaw, Poland, where I live, it's probably much easier to get Thai food rather than any foreign food, which is quite interesting because Thailand is quite distant from Poland. On the other side, we have Poland. So just like for Thailand, farming and food production was always one of the pillars of our Polish economy. We are one of the biggest producers in Europe. Food production is one of those sectors that went through huge change during the political transformation because of technology change mainly. We became a very modern and innovative food manufacturer in Europe. Just to say, within the last 10 years, our food exports tripled. Also, please keep in mind, and since we joined the European Union in 2004, the acceleration changed dramatically as well. We had to improve the technology so that we keep the European Union standards, and because of the many grants, Polish food producers were able to improve their technology. So today we will talk about most recent food trends in Poland and in Thailand. We have Dr. Taniawat from Thai Union who will talk about the Thailand landscape. We have Michał and Piotr from a food accelerator in Poland that they will cover the Polish landscape. And then we have representatives from three very exciting companies that had the courage, the idea, and the technology to enter the market very quickly and with amazing outcome. So we have Apollo, we have Cool Beans, and we have Mielone company. I am very excited to have honorary guests attending our webinar. And with no further ado, I would like to invite on stage our first honorary guest, one of the biggest and most active supporters of Polish and Thai business cooperation, not only within food tech business, but all sectors. His Excellency, Mr. Waldemar Dumaniowski, Ambassador of Republic of Poland to the Kingdom of Thailand. Mr. Ambassador, welcome.
Thank you very much for such a interesting and warm introduction. And of course, first of all, good afternoon or very good morning to all our friends in Poland as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, masters of agri-food innovation from Thailand and Poland, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to this extremely interesting event organized by Polish Investment and Trade Agency. First and foremost, of course, I would like to warmly welcome His Excellency, Mr. Chitapan Maksampan, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Thailand to Poland. And I have to tell you, we are lucky, and of course you as a participant, you are lucky as well, because His Excellency is also the ambassador focused pretty much on innovation as well. So, also a warm welcome to Dr. Taniawat Kasemsuwan, Director of Global Innovation from Thai Union Group. And of course, Thai Union Group is very much interested in all kinds of innovation as well. And last but not least, Mr. Norbert Bong, Head of Polish Foreign Trade Office in Bangkok. And Norbert, big thank you for coming up with this idea. In my opinion, it's an excellent idea. We can promote relation with Thailand. We can promote delicious Polish and Thai food as well. So, and finally, I would like also warmly welcome all the representatives of the Polish and Thai food tech sector and all our distinguished guests. Thank you for being with us today. As we are still in the spirit of Father's Day and Thailand's National Day, I would like to wish all our Thai friends all the best on this occasion. All the best on the Thai National Day. And today's event is very special because both Thailand and Poland are without any doubts being considered as leaders in the agri-food sector. And not everyone in Thailand knows that Poland is one of the biggest producers and exporters of agri-food products in the European Union. In 2020, the export of Polish food products amounted almost 39 billion US dollars, which is about 1.3 trillion Thai baht. Of course, you are fully aware that Poland in Europe or Thailand in Asia is a synonym of delicious food. So you can safely consider today's event as a meeting of twins. Maybe not identical, but both very successful with great prospects. Polish food and Polish food products in particular gain trust and recognition on the most demanding markets and meet the highest European Union production standards in terms of food safety, quality, and environmental impact. And of course, this fact did not go unnoticed by international companies, by international big companies, including a number of major Thai companies which decided to invest in Poland and cooperate with Polish partners as well. The list includes Thai Union Group, CP Group, Can Food Industry, to name just a few. We also have in Poland a lot of companies that offer unique, innovative food tech solutions. Today, some of these solutions will be presented to you by representatives of the Polish Food Tech Accelerator and Polish companies as well. I have to say that I see a great potential for cooperation between Thailand and Poland in agri-food sector in particular. And looking at the list of innovative Polish companies participating in the webinar and professional Thai partners, I truly believe that this event will only be the first step to strengthen our Polish-Thai partnership. And let's hope that the final step will be to sign a contract. So in this case, don't hesitate to invite us to your signing ceremony, and we'll arrange a good wine, naturally Polish or Thai wine only, to make a toast. And having said that, I wish you all a very successful and of course fruitful seminar. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for very interesting remarks. Now I would like to invite His Excellency, Mr. Chetapan Maksampan, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Thailand, the Republic of Poland. We have had many discussions about Polish food and Thai food. Happy to have another one today, now with a little bit broader audience. Mr. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
So good afternoon to all participants in Thailand, and also good morning to all participants in Poland. It is my pleasure to be here. First of all, I would like to express my appreciation to the Polish Investor and Trade Office or PI Office, especially Mr. Norbert Park, the director. We have been in good cooperation for the past years, so thank you very much. And also, I would like to express my appreciation to the Tech Source for co-organizing this very important seminar. My also thanks goes to Dr. Thanyawat Kasem Suwan, who joined us later for the other session from the Thai Union as one of the major Thai investor here in Poland, especially in the sustainable food industry. And also my special thanks to my friends, Mr. Piotr Grabowski and Mr. Michał Piotrczyk from the FoodTech AC, who have played a very important role in enhancing the cooperation and knowledge and interaction between the Thai and Polish startups. I personally have very much confidence that this seminar is very timely for three reasons. First of all, I think it's, as Ambassador, His Excellency Ambassador Vanumor mentioned, and also Director Norbert mentioned, it's good opportunity for trade and investment and cooperation between Thailand and Poland, especially in terms of food for the future and food tech and food innovation. Secondly, it's better for health, as the moderator mentioned, because it's especially for the plant-based food. So I'm sure that if there is a great opportunity to increase health benefit for those who are involved. Last but not least, it's the best solution, one of the best solutions for the world and environment, especially to reach the Sustainable Development Goals. So with this, the embassy stands ready to support all stakeholders and all participants in the future regarding the cooperation in terms of trade and investment for the food for the future. I also would like to highlight that next year is a special year because it's the 50th anniversary between Thai and Polish diplomatic relations, and the embassy, together with all our partners, are planning to perform many activities, including the promotion of food tech, food industry, and also medical technology that will enhance the cooperation between the two countries. So please stay tuned, and I wish this seminar a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to all of our guests there with Mr. Bach, Your Excellency, Mr. Dubanovsky, and as well as Her Excellency Chetapan for opening the remarks and also giving insights to our Food for the Future, the food tech scene in Poland and Thailand sessions. And I have to admit, I got very excited when the ambassadors started talking about the potential events that are going to happen in the future, especially with next year being the anniversary of relations between Poland and Thailand, and we'll definitely see more activities where we for both sides can taste some delicious food. But for now, let's take a look at the big scene or an overview of how development has been, in particular in the Kingdom of Thailand. Our first keynote session is entitled The Revolution of Thailand's Food Tech, and I'd like to welcome Dr. Thanyawat Kasem Suwan, Director Group Global Innovation of the Thai Union Group Public Company Limited, to share with us his knowledge and experience about the history and the revolution of Thailand's food tech.
Okay, Sawadee krap. It's quite an honor for me to be here and giving my presentation on the revolution of Thailand food tech and for food for the future. I think this is a very big topic, and to be able to do it in 20 minutes, I have to say that it might be only a fraction of that. And I think I want to share that this is just my point of views. I'm sure that a lot of people may have a different, point of view as well. So let me starting off. So if you look into the Thai economy, we are very, very strong in agriculture for many, many more years. I have to say that it may not be the most updated because, this is the number I get for 2017, but it haven't changed, okay, that much. We still are number one in exporter of tapioca or cassava. So almost half of the world are exporting from Thailand. And as with the Thai unions, we also are number one of the top exporters of canned tuna. Believe it or not, 30% of world tuna cans came from Thailand. Okay, that's something very much that you would not expect. Thai union alone, acquire approximately about 20% of the whole world. Okay. We also are number one of the canned pineapples. So for those who love some fruits, almost half of the world come from Thailand. And the fourth one, which you might not surprise, for Thailand, we used to be a number one and number two. I think the 2017, I think last year we were number one again. So again, but we are one of the top exporter of rice. Okay, this is a long rice that we actually be able to occupy 15% of the whole world. And last but not least, in sugar canes, we are very large in sugar manufacturing here in Thailand. So when you look to that's actually agriculture, which raw materials to produce foods. And when you look into a supply chain, so just give you a more bigger overview. Again, this is 2019, or 2018. Sorry, it's prior to COVID. Thailand, have one of very large population use the internet. 47 million people have access to internet. We are using over $3 trillion on e-payment in 2018. I'm sure now it's much higher because of COVID. People go online. We have 83 million subscribers in 2018, where Thailand had approximately about 70 million people. So a lot of people have more than one phone. Okay, we don't use WhatsApp, we use Line user. So we are well connected to the to the digital world. Internet banking and mobile banking have been actually surging big time. So when you look in Thailand, you have to think about we're quite advanced a lot in digital technologies as well. Okay. And with the location, I think this is something maybe some people don't aware that we are in the middle of Asia when you think about that. within geographically in CLMVT, those Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, Thailand, it's 240 million populations, within 1,000 kilometers. So it's not that large. So it's very dense with the population. And the ASEAN alone is 645 million that we can serve, consumers in ASEAN. And for Asia, we notice we have 4.6 billion people, So when you look at a population in Asia that we can serve out from Thailand with approximately only, 3-4 hour flight periods is very large. So I think that's very good in terms of geographically and expanding to the consumer around us. And I think when you come back into the opportunity in food tech industry, one of the Thailand, I would say Thailand is number 5. I think it's not in this slide. We're producing and exporting food to the whole world in terms of the value. When you look at the country does believe this is a key growth engine because it's one of the largest, in income of the country. We have the growth engine in line with Thailand 4.0 economic model that the government just announced it a year ago. We have a strong food supply chain, from agriculture, I mentioned already, livestock, seafood products, We also have a lot of intermediate products, which came from agriculture, dairy products, sugars, and processing a lot of seafood as Thai Union doing that. And we also have a lot of processed meats, vegetables as well. So as I have shown to you, that the food industry contribute roughly of 1/5 of the whole country GDP. So if you think about in Thailand, food is really important into the growth of the countries, sustainable of the country. And I think that's why when you look to opportunity for the future growth in food industry, you can imagine that the government and the industry are pouring in to supporting this industry. You've seen in the recent time, people talk a lot more about functional food, medical food, organic foods, and novel food. So those are, I would say, technology-driven, innovations in food industry, and I think we would like to see a lot more of that. With the last 2 years, pandemics, a lot of change in the consumption of foods. First of all, people start to look for the health. I think a lot of proactive in healthcare. Consumers start to see how could we boost immunities? How could we boosting the health? In fact, I just come up from another conference, Indonesia, particularly, another country that everyone, when they talk about food now, they talk about how the food will impact their health. So it's no longer just indulging or I think just fill up your stomach. It's more about the health. Okay. A lot of consumer now switch to online. So that's known everywhere because we've got lockdown. So people start to continue to shopping and getting a supply. So I think a lot of people shifting. And I think this is important in a lot of food delivery, how we service the food, consumption of consumer have changed. A lot of people in the past would go for fresh. Now they have to go for more frozen, pre-cooked foods. Okay, there's a lot of people who's stocking up, increases stock in the household. Part of it is because they're not mobile like in the past. Mobility have been limited, so people need to stock into the pantry, and you see a lot of pantry loading in many countries in the world. Different, no different in Thailand. And again, with a lot of limited income, they're more prudent on how they're spending. Consumer want to make sure they're spending more essential foods, okay, and they prepare for another crisis. You never know the next rounds of COVID, round 4, round 5, are they going to continue? Hopefully not, but you never know. And I think everybody prepare for that. So how Thai Union, I think, was switching from a very big picture of Thailand that I getting those information from National Innovation Agency. I want to share more about Thailand, so get you understand who we are first. Okay, Mr. Ambassador just shared that we are one of the investor in Poland. We have 4 factories in Poland now, mainly on the seafoods. Okay, so when you look at Thai Union, you look at you might surprise that Thai Union as a word Thai Union. We actually occupy perhaps only 10% of the income in Thailand only, whereas 90% of our income for the company came from abroad. Okay, we are number one seafood branded in France. Okay, with Patinavir brand. We also number one brand seafood in UK, Ireland, and Netherlands called John West, and also King Oscar, which also have factory in Poland. And I think that's the branded in Norway and the Nordics, so in US and Australia. In Thailand, we have the brand called Select. Okay, in Germany, we also number one brand called Rungo Fish and Harvester. We also have owned the brand called Chicken the Sea in US and multiple brands around the world. Okay, one important that if you been to US, you might know one of the world's largest seafood chain restaurant called Red Lobster. We also the major shareholders of Red Lobster. As you can see, that's generally in all around the world. We do have served consumers and customer around. Our vision is not to be the largest. We are today the largest seafood company, but we want to make sure that consumer care about us. So we want to be the most trusted seafood. When they trust us, I think that's the most critical for anyone to purchase food. We're definitely caring for resource and nature generation to come. Our seafood generally, wild caught, particularly in tuna. So they need to make sure that we work very closely with all the NGO to make sure that our seafood are caught, sustainably and responsibly. Our mission is to be leading agent of change, making real positive difference in consumer and customer, and how the category manage. As very clear, being able to have the sizable, we'll be able to take the leading in a lot of change in the industry. I think we have done a lot of change already, particularly, for example, that we have committing all the packaging to be as all recyclable or compostable within 2025. Okay, we're so committing to living, healthy ocean. This is very clear that I mentioned consumers are switching to do more healthy. And I think we want to make sure our customer, our consumers, and our employee stay healthy and well-being. At the same time, we want to make sure that the resource from the ocean stay healthy as well. So we'll continue to lead on industrial sustainability to make sure that also be able to attract a lot of and retain our talent. One good example, we have been named it or number one on DJSI or Dow Jones Sustainability Index in food category for multiple years. I think this year we've got to be a number 2, and that's something we're very proud about because we're demonstrating to the industry. I mean, as you majority of people know us to a tuna can, we actually have lots of other division as well. We are one of the largest lobster providers in the seafood and shrimps. We're also doing a lot in pet care. Last couple of years, we're entering into alternative protein and working with a few startups. So I think that's a plant-based protein. And last year we introduced in supplements. So we generate a lot of supplement through the resource internally. Last but not least is ingredients that we are serving to B2B to customer. So jump into the part that might be more relevant to a lot of startups today. Okay, NIA, Mahidol University, and us are founding what they call the first global food startup incubator and accelerators based here in Thailand. They call it program called Space F. It's a triple helix combination between government, private, and university. And the mission is to support the outstanding food tech entrepreneur, which is strong and sustainable business, and create more positive impact to the world. As you have seen, we're not just looking for Thailand. This program alone will allow us to link a lot of startups outside Thailand and inside Thailand and be able to bring them up and move that into the commercializations. Okay, our partners, I mentioned about the NIA. I think the NIA have been the key stakeholders that helping driving, enhancing national innovation systems. So I think this is the part that NIA with the part in Space F is really giving a lot of synergy because they have drive with the embassies, with the government, with the board of investment to be able to help the startup that we bring into the programs. And I think, and including some of financial support as well. SpaceX have 9 areas that I think might be good to share today, because this particular 9 area where it I think coincide with how Thailand want to evolve into Industrial 4.0. Health and wellness I mentioned already, biochemical and chemical in food. Okay, smart manufacturing, as you all know, smart manufacturing in Thailand using a lot of the labor. So I think nowadays we know that that's not sustainable. We need to start to look at how to make manufacturing much more sustainable and be able to use a lot of automation, robotics. I think the smart manufacturing get involved with that. Alternative protein, I touched on that already. Packaging solutions, smart food service. I think this is a lot of how we serve to consumers to a lot of application, novel food and ingredients, food safety, quality, and a lot of restaurant technology. So the program itself doesn't take any equity, but we actually provide a lot of support in facility, proof of concept, mentoring, some of the classroom, to be able to equip them to be ready to get into the next phase. Last but not least, we also provide some grant to make the staff in the program be able, I would say, to go through the programs. This is some example of startup that have gone into the program, particularly on alternative protein. Just give one example. We have a company in Singapore, Corona, that making a jackfruits in kind of like dim sums. Okay, we have a Thai company creating this less plant meat from soy. We have more meat, another plant-based protein from fungus. And another company from making oat milk, milk from oat milk. Yeah, okay. And we have insect protein from dog treat called Leica, another American company called Natural to make a dark beetle protein for sport nutrition. Entero is I think British company that get animal feed from insect. And Advent meat, and actually that's a cultivated fish based from Hong Kong. Okay, so you see that there's multiple companies that join the program. And for Thai unions, okay, invest in a few startups. Some of them came from SpaceX, come from outside. We have a corporate venture fund, a corporate venture capital that's starting in I think in 2020 actually. We actually have expanded scope, into biotechnology early this year. We're also announcing that we investing in a couple more company in this last couple months. Okay, so right now we have a group of company that we invest in alternative protein, Blue Nalu from USA, Alifam in Israel, Spangsbaum Israel, Food in US. Also invest in two company in biotechnology, Alchemy Foods in Singapore, via in Israel. And on the value chain technologies, the company called Hydroneo that held in aquaculture from Germany. We also invest in the fund in Singapore as well. And I think that's only what we have been able to announce. We have a lot more in the pipeline, and I think that's something we like to work more with a lot of startups because we do have a fund to invest in them. And we believe that allow us to be able to connecting to a lot of startups, be able to help bring a lot of those startups to help enhancing the capabilities of Thailand in the food technology. That's I would like to share for today. And hopefully, if any questions I can help entertain, I would love to do so. But if not, then I would like to thank you, organizers, and hopefully I share some of my thought on how food tech in Thailand have been evolved for the last few years. Thank you. Good cup.
Thank you so much to Dr. Thanyawat for that insightful keynote speech. I definitely think that people are interested in what has been said about Thailand's ecosystem and is excited to see the various developments that not only has been seen through the acceleration and support of startups, but also overall how Thailand has become a very strong player in the food tech industry, not only in terms of geographically, but also with what we have to offer. And I'm sure a lot of the viewers who are watching us here from Poland and Thailand, or maybe you're from another country who wants to know more about Thailand's ecosystem, as the doctor said, he is more than welcome to answer any questions. And actually, you can also put in your questions if you want onto the chat area in our Facebook pages of TechSauce Media or Pi Facebook page, and we will try and get back to you on that, as of course we are a live event, but I know we at the end of the day really do want to help support everyone who wants to grow and wants to see the advancement of food tech here in Thailand and also in your own country. Anyways, for now we have also issues in terms of what is next for Poland. And we do have a lot of things that we are planning for you. As I mentioned, we are going to have another keynote speech talking about the landscape of the food tech industry in Poland, as well as some case studies coming from, or rather showcases rather, of companies that are leading in the food tech industry in the various sectors in Poland. We also do encourage everyone as well, as I mentioned, to at any point of our session, give in your comments or give in your questions in the chat box, because we love to hear from you, and we really do want to help and support those who are joining us here today. Okay, so without further ado, let's take a look at Poland's unique food tech ecosystem, how we build the future for food tech industry. And we have with us the co-founders of FoodTech Act Poland, Mr. Piotr Gabowski, as well as Mr. Michał Piorzik. And I'm very excited indeed to see what they have to say. So let me welcome them to the screen.
Good evening, everyone in Thailand. Hello, and good morning to you in Poland. Thanks for a warm introduction. This is Piotr. I am Michał, and we're here to talk to you guys regarding the state of Polish food tech and how do we see it in the future. So I'm going to launch our presentation. And to full screen. And it's not there.
Oh, yes,
oh,
it's
there it is.
good.
Okay, good. All right, guys. So again, we're FoodTech AC. We're the first food tech startup accelerator in Poland. We're working for 4 years now, so we covered the industry pretty well. Right now, we're launching a VC fund, which will focus on food tech and impactful investment here in Central Eastern Europe. We're the top one in Central Eastern Europe for the last 4 years. We've accelerated 20 startups, about which we're going to talk to you a little bit later on. Okay, yeah. So why do we think the food tech industry needs a change? Because it's bad for us and it's bad for the planet. We eat unhealthy food. It's processed in unhealthy ways, and the waste which is left after that damages not only our health but also our planet. So why do we think we can really make the difference? We truly believe, and scientists support the thesis, that combining food and tech, so and enabling deep technologies and new technologies into transforming the food can really make a difference in the way that that food impacts our planet. And it's one of the top things that each of us can do. So change the way we eat a little bit to help our planet to be a bit better. But is there money in this? So of course, everybody wants to see impact, but you will see that investors won't jump into things that don't give profit. And in the last 3 years, in Poland alone, we see a 600% growth in the sales of, for example, meat supplements, vegan meats substitutes. Sorry, and not only that, the prognosis is that, for example, for next year, our growth here in Poland will be 5 times bigger than, for example, the market in the US. So it's a pretty good perspective for us. And why do we see the space for startups to address this market? It's because, you know, the big companies, they usually takes time for them to adapt to this change. And we can see again a lot of small startups, some of them in our portfolio, some of them outside, and smaller companies who really grow rapidly, whereas the big players, they're still kind of lagging behind. And again, we see these spaces in a lot of areas that we're going to tell you about a little bit in a second. What's even more, we think and predict that this trend is gonna grow even quicker, because all the statistics say that that our peers they want to see their products truly sustainable, and they don't quite believe that the big companies are truly sustainable. And again, this puts a lot of focus and a lot of demand on the products from the startups.
So we it's over 2 years we've been working on the market with our accelerator, and the story is really nice because there was actually nothing like food tech industry when we were starting, and throughout this time, in 30 months, we basically get to know 300 startups here in Poland and is in CE region, so Poland plus, let's say, which are working in that food tech industry, agri-tech industry, some sustainability startups. So as you see, 300 is not that much, but this number is growing now rapidly. Yes, so that's what we mapped, over 300 startups in our network. Plus, we build a program around those startups' needs, and we didn't build it actually alone, because we've been building our business and network throughout the years. And we said to our friends and our business partners that we are launching a food tech accelerator. Many people actually wanted to contribute. So people who already have businesses in different areas or have businesses in food, big businesses in food, because we're also working with big industry players, said, guys, you are doing a change, you are starting something new, a food tech accelerator in the market, and we wanna help you. During those 2 years, we also get to know over 100 food producers and distributors here in Poland and CE region, and many things changed in the last 30 months. Because if 2 years ago we were going from the company to company, from, for example, companies who are producing meat or producing dairy, we were going to them and say, guys, there is a big market which is growing in US. There are meat substitutes like Beyond Meat or something, and it's like, we didn't heard of it. Like, is it gonna be big sometime? And they were like, oh, maybe it's gonna be 5% or 1% of our production in the future. And now 2 years later, those companies are coming to us saying like, oh, we should have started 2 years ago. We should have started 3 years ago working on that, because now we see those products are available on the market, and we overslept a bit that moment when we could have started. It's still not too late. We see that many larger food producers, seeing those startups growing in the food tech industry, they want to jump on that train and be a part of that change. What we also built, there was nothing like VC funds or food tech investors here in Poland, like who actively invested in that sector. But going from person to person, from fund to fund, discussing every project which came to us and showing investors those projects, they started investing. And already we have like over 100 investors in our network. And in total, during those 3 years, in 4 batches of the acceleration program, we accelerated over 20 startups. And I'm gonna quickly show you what kind of startups are we going through. Very important things. We are both business focused, but also we really are looking for that sustainability factor. We know that money are important in that business, but also our drive and our personal driver to start the accelerator was also to doing some kind of change. And we're really looking for the sustainable development goals in the startups we are accelerating. So 15 of 20 of accelerated startups are still up and running. So, not everyone survives the program because it's intense, it's difficult, it's a kind of new market, but we're very proud, 75% of our startups accelerated are still on the market, growing, raising funds, entering new distribution networks. And now we want to present you a few of those startups. So one is going to be roślinny kurczak, which is plant-based alternative to poultry meat. And actually, today you're gonna see the presentation of that startup. So I'm gonna be talking too much because they will present themselves. But one remark, really, like now after 2 and 3 years, they in the media they are covered as as an equal to larger food producers in Poland. So that kind of products were not available in Poland 3 or 4 years ago. Now they are everywhere, basically, largely entering new distribution networks, and kind of like one of the startups we are the most proud of.
This is the most recognized poultry substitute in Poland.
Yes, currently at the market.
Even
there are some Western companies and from US or from Western Europe entered the market. Still, like our portfolio company roślinny kurczak is one of the most visible now. The other area which we are proud to invest is huge, kind of an accelerated startup is something which is a plant-based meal, which is in a powdered form. But then you add water and basically have a fully sustainable meal, which has 400 calories, which is totally nutritionally sustainable and gives you full of energy. It's a kind of replacement of a snack. Imagine you're going for a chocolate bar to the shop because you're in a rush. That's kind of substitute we are now really growing here in Poland. There are a few competitors already on the market, which we see that there is demand in that areas. Liśniczut is a Polish name, so it's hard to translate it to. But it's kind of like leafy miracle in English. This kind of first Polish startups which entered with the vertical farms into retail stores. So now what you see on the picture is actually vertical farm in a Carrefour store. They've been able to successfully fundraise. They are now growing the number of farms in few cities in Poland. We started from the capital, the Warsaw, but now we'll be opening a new city. So this vertical farming is kind of a new thing in Poland, and it's not that easy to educate the market about the technology. But slowly, we've got many interest from media, from retail stores, even from real estate industry, which wants to implement that kind of vertical farms and grow microgreens and grow herbs here in the heart of the cities, not necessarily on the fields, but this is technology which has actually helped you to grow microgreens, herbs, and other greens in the heart of the cities, in the buildings which are not used, which are basically free buildings in the city center, which are old buildings, for example, could be adapted for the vertical farms. The next startup is France. It's a hypoallergic, high-quality food for your dog based on insect-based proteins. So those insect-based proteins actually didn't exist on the market 3 or 4 years ago. Now there are even few startups which are going into producing not only pet food but also snacks for humans. We recently showed that kind of startups on one of our events in Warsaw.
And we know it's extremely popular in Thailand to eat insect-based food, but in Poland and EU, it's basically non-existent. So we're really looking forward to this hype because insect-based protein is very good for our planet. It doesn't require a lot of resources, and it can be very, as we know when we travel to Thailand, it can be very, very tasty. So yes. Looking forward to this.
Cuminsys is kind of a system which helps to reduce food waste and overproduction of food in the HoReCa industry. Now, this project is successfully running in schools, for example, helping schools to educate children and also change the school canteens not to overproduce food. Because funny story, which is not that fun actually, but real story is, think about it like there was a school in Poland which parents were paying €2 for meals for their children. Another €2 was donated by the city. So in total, that was €4. But what they measured and discovered actually that half of the food is being thrown out because it's overproduced. It's produced too much of the food. Children are not eating it. And Cummins is a kind of a system which lets hotels, restaurants, schools to measure and project and design, for example, menus and for many weeks upfront in the amount which won't produce food waste. Another startup, another startup which I'm very proud of is it's been. It's a kind of like, let's say, world scale innovation. One of the first companies, actually the first company in the world producing, because we didn't find any other company doing this, producing yogurts made from white beans. And they launched in the middle of this year after fundraising a pretty large amount of money on the market. One of the biggest fundraising our startup already had. And now they're growing like a crazy. They are covered everywhere in media, and the product is like really tasty. Even it's not real yogurt, but as an alternative, we are super amazed about the quality, and the feedback from the customers is awesome. The other industry, more even closer to the Asia, is FoodTech, which is a plant-based alternative of pulled pork and made from jackfruit. So you know very well jackfruit in Asia. In Europe, it's not that popular yet. But it's going to change again. A fruit which could be changed into plant-based alternative. So as you see, not only like typical proteins, but also funders and food companies are looking for new ingredients to produce the plant-based alternatives. Zivia, it's a project which goes a bit earlier in the let's say in the supply chain. So they actually produce probiotics and personalized probiotics and kind of like eco fertilizers for gardening and for agri industry. This is because currently in Poland there are many chemical fertilizers in use to produce food, to cultivate soil, and it's basically destroying the soil pretty fast. And now more and more startups, but also big big agri companies are looking for alternatives to make the soil, to actually recultivate the soil, because we all know that if we're gonna utilize our planet so fast and destroy the soil, it's not gonna give us any fruits in upcoming time. And we see that this market of eco fertilizers with probiotics in it is going to grow like a crazy. They're currently fundraising also, so we are open to call for investors. Another good startup which we have is a Kishmash. It's a startup which actually works with fermented food, and we see that fermented market is also very popular. It was really popular 50 years ago. Our grandmothers used a lot of fermented food. Then it was a bit forgotten, and now it's in the kind of like, if it's revival times, there are many new stores, many new places where you could buy pasteurized, like unpasteurized fermented products as a drinks, as a kind of kimchi is super getting popular now in Poland. So even the food we known 50 years ago is coming back in a new form, and it's really nice that actually there was a food tech in it even 50 years ago, but now we are discovered it's kind of a food tech. We know how probiotic, how pasteurized, how actually the probiotics and fermented food works really well for our guts. And another startup which we are very proud of is my egg. It's a plant-based substitute of a chicken egg in a liquid form. We just closed the first financing round for that startup, and in a few months we're going to introduce very easy to use. You just open the bottle, which is gonna be in time more sustainable than the plastic bottle for sure. We are looking for packaging solutions, and you just pour it on a pan and fry it like a normal egg, so it's super useful. And just to mention startups, we just finished our batch for this year. It's Rebread, super startup, which is turning actually unsold bread. So there are bakeries which are not able to sell all the bread during the day, and not to throw out this bread. They are turning into high quality alcohol, which is super tasty. So both, there is a saving planning in it. There is a fun and taste of the alcohol. So very nice connection actually of sustainability and having fun. Legumi, which is a startup which connects compares the e-grocery market is also growing because of, especially for pandemics, and there are many new e-grocery stores online which are providing with daily groceries. And Legumi is an app which integrates those stores and help you to choose the best store to have the quickest delivery or have the most convenient price for your basket. Nielona, which you're gonna see also presentation today, they are the plant-based alternative of minced meat, but it's gonna come later today. And Polemi, another good startup which is helping to automate the bartending industry. So even now it's a large problem with using too much water in ice and bartending, and also problem with hiring people. So Polemi kind of automated machine which serves drinks.
Okay, so Piotr told you about the startups which we see are hottest in Poland. You can see across the industries. You can see various stage of technological advancement, and that's how we see food tech. So again, it doesn't have to be a very complicated technology at the beginning, as you saw. Sometimes it's just coming back to the roots, using fermentation, which we knew and you guys knew for thousands of years, and then employing the new science we know about the microbiome of our gut, and employing those simple technologies to improve our health and the health of our planet. And then again, we go along the chain, and at the very end, there's vertical farming, automated farms which grow food themselves and save resources such as water. So it's all around the spectrum there. And again, those are the things we see now in the market, and we consider Poland and basically Central Eastern Europe as a very
fruitful market.
As a fruitful market, yeah. We see great potential in here, and that is why we decided to raise a fund, and that's what we're doing right now. We're raising capital for an investment funds which will invest. And again, why do we think Poland is a great market for that? We see a lot of again, market is booming, and we see that the founders, they're really passionate about not only making business but also saving the planet, and we can see that in this mission they will endure so much more when doing business if they not only take care about money but also about the mission. They're really passionate about the business, and even after the money's run out, we've seen it so many times that no normal people will give up, and they keep on going. So it's quite amazing to look at that. But again, at the other side, there's market which is growing when we see it's amazing opportunity. That's why looking heavily at the numbers, we decided to raise this fund, and we see our co-investors, our angel investors, other VC funds in Poland. They are starting to get interested in this particular area. As Piotr said, 2 years ago, nobody would look at food tech investments in Poland, and right now we closed a few investments. Or help to negotiate some other ones, and we see that even later stage funds are getting into it. We see that later stage, so founders who have exited their previous businesses, they're looking at food tech.
What is more, even like we're seeing people coming from completely other industries, like cars production or something, coming to us. Guys, we see that something is happening in that food area, and we are a bit bored with our business we are currently doing, and we want to do something good for the world. So even not professional investors are coming to us and see we want to support this plant-based alternatives, plant-based dairy alternatives, and it's that's what we decided to put up in a form on the fund. Plus, what's worth mentioning, in Europe, especially EU regulations are really pushing the sustainability right now. In terms of production, in terms of packaging, they're coming super hard and tough regulations for producers to turn into eco packaging. So we see there is huge opportunity, plus legal side, plus demand from consumers, from investors. We couldn't do anything else than put up a fund.
That's right. And again, sum up, what are we see the hottest areas here in Poland and Central Eastern Europe will be. So again, alternative protein, I think it's self-explanatory. So it's meat, it's mincemeat, it's chicken alternative, it's dairy, it's eggs. It's also agri-tech, so all the technology that can help us to a little bit earlier on the value chain, such as vertical farming and biodynamic fertilizers. It's dimension packaging. It's traceability. We don't have a startup with traceability right now in our portfolio, and we're really looking forward to it. There's not many of those in Central Eastern Europe, but again, we hope that we see that transparency of where the products come from is really essential to the clients, and again, it's also good for the environment. So we think it's going to be a nice trend there. Food waste reduction, that's kind of obvious. And again, there are a lot of technologies out there. We work closely with the university, and we see that the scientists are getting more into waste. And just recently, a couple of teams from Poland, they proved that worm eats plastic and it leaves nothing behind. So in good conditions, we can get rid of all the plastic, and worms just eating it. So it's looking bright. Food production process, that's also one of the things that we're looking into. Robotics, as we said, we see that there's going to be more and more problems with workforce in upcoming years, especially in EU. So again, robots are coming in handy. What also comes to our attention is sugar and salt reduction. People are very, very health conscious these recent years, and we see sugar and salt supplements, natural substitutes come into play. Obviously, non-processed food, the less the better. We see alternative protein, which we see now a little bit too processed, and again, for example, Nielone, the startup in our portfolio, it works closely with food scientists to make it less and less processed and more and more locally sourced. And of course, something which is also very important to us personally is physical and mental wellness. So everything you see in food, it's kind of a step towards us as people, as humans, be mentally and physically better. So how can we ensure that the growth is there? Because the market conditions can be perfect, and you can have perfect startups, but if you don't work greatly with them, then they will not achieve their optimal performance. We in Piotr here, we believe, and we work that in a way that we make sure that the products go immediately into sales channels. We have fast tracks and retail channels and e-groceries.
So imagine there is a startup which wants to test a product in a major retail store, but they don't have resources to produce 10,000 of pieces. They can just produce 2,000 or 1,000 pieces of their product and can test in few hypermarkets in the capital of the city. That's what we're doing. So we're ensuring that the customers are able to get products as fast as possible, 3 months or even 2 months after launching the startup production.
We believe that pooling guys into one area here in Poland, we can be a food tech hub. That's why we see the synergies within our startups. They work closely together, and again, this could be one of the factors. We're setting up a food lab here. So as Piotr mentioned, you can produce a small batch of things and launch them immediately into market and see what happens. And of course, the smart money, which is perfectly timed. We from what we've seen so far, getting 50k euro will just suffice to skyrocket the startups at POC level, and then adding another couple of 100,000 will make sure the major market player, just like the aforementioned Kurczak. What is essential to us that you guys see, not only how we built the business, but also how we get out of it. So most of you guys out there are probably investors, and you want to see how it works at the end. So there's a lot of later stage VCs which are interested in the market. Big Food does want to do mergers and acquisitions. We've sold pieces of our business to big food players, some of them from Thailand. We also see that equity crowdfunding is going big, and IPOs are very interesting for the startups. And yeah, speaking about timing, we're a bit out of time now, but again, the timing is perfect. We're looking around the globe to scale the businesses, and obviously the sustainability, as mentioned, is really crucial to us. So again, guys, if you're looking into getting into food tech business in Poland, we think the timing is perfect, and we highly encourage you guys to reach out to us if you have any other questions. We'll be glad to help out and talk a bit more.
So the opportunity is here. The competition is not that high yet. The demand from the customers is very high. So we see that food tech industry, and that's why we're devoting our lives currently. So basically, in the upcoming 10 years, we'll be mostly focused on the food tech industry in our lives, in our professional and private lives, I would say. So if you want to build the future of the food tech industry with us in Poland, super happy to talk to you more. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Take care and have a great day.
And those were the co-founders of FoodTech Act Poland, Mr. Grabowski and Mr. Piorshik, giving us a lot of details and insight very thoroughly about how they have been very successful in creating an ecosystem that is now stronger than ever and growing faster than ever in Poland. And it's very exciting to see as well that there has been interest with the various partnerships that have been brought up. They didn't name the partnerships, but they've already said that there has been deals that have been made between Poland and Thailand. So that's very interesting indeed. And it's also cool as well, I'll say cool, to see that a lot of the things that they're talking about, such as the hot areas, are the things that we need to look forward to in terms of alternative meat, agri-tech, packaging, traceability, sugar and salt reduction, are all the themes that we are also seeing here in the Kingdom of Thailand. So if you want to get involved, if you want to know more, do take the opportunity to message us or leave us a message in the chat on our Facebook pages, and our team will try and get back to you and give you the insight as to how you can get started or get involved. Now, as was mentioned, we do have 3 showcases of really, you could say, as what was mentioned before with the FoodTech Act Poland, and that is showcases of companies that are making their mark and that are very popular indeed in Poland and bringing a change in the way that we eat and bringing more healthier lifestyles. We have with us 3 individual companies that are fortunately giving us their time to share their expertise and knowledge on what they have created, and that is Apollo or Kurushak Company Limited. There is also Cool Beans Company Limited and Nialona Company Limited, various things that have been mentioned before by the co-founders earlier in our session. But we're going to start first with Apollo, a plant-based chicken alternative, the fastest growing startup in Poland offering a plant-based alternative to poultry. So please welcome to the screen here, Ms. Joanna Kuniowska, the Chief Marketing Officer of Apollo or Kuroshak Company Limited, showcasing Apollo plant-based chicken alternative.
Hello, everyone. Can I see my slides? Thank you very much. I'm happy to say that we can treat my today presentation as an unofficial launch of our new international brand, which is Apollo. Apollo is a plant-based poultry made out of Polish beans. In short, who is behind the project? Here is our core team: Iga, the founder, me, Chief Marketing Officer, and Konrad, Chief Operations Officer. But we have also an amazing team of 20 people on the board, support of an investment received this year, and quite big facility, production facility in Warsaw, which we can produce up to 80 tons of plant-based meat per month. In Apollo, we believe that the best meat comes from plants. And actually, we make it happen, day by day, package by package. We started in 2018, taking part in FoodTech acceleration program. Then the rollercoaster started and Polish media went a bit crazy about us. As roślinny kurczak, as roślinny kurczak, our previous brand, we took part in a nationwide TV campaign of one of the most popular Polish banks. We were invited to the presidential palace and we took part in a campaign promoting innovative startups around Europe, organized by Google for Startups. We were also listed by FoodTech 500, the list of global talents at the intersection between food technology and sustainability. Apollo is a game changer. It's delicious and has extraordinary texture. Apollo consists of fibers that resemble the muscle of poultry breast. And actually, the best part about our product, that's the best part about our product. We achieve it thanks to our unique technology that is guarded as one of the greatest company's secrets. But I will tell you more about the product a bit later. First, let's try to answer the most important question today. Why do people buy meat alternatives? Most people would say that vegans and vegetarians are the ones missing something similar to meat. But you would be surprised. Around 93% of people eating and buying plant-based meats eat meat as well. So here we have flexitarians, and for those people, the taste of the product is crucial. And there are more and more motivations for which we, as a society, give up meat. In Apollo, we examine them carefully. We focus on getting to know our clients and convert them into the customers who are coming back to buy more plant-based goodies. There are a lot of plant-based products right now on the market that are trying to imitate meat. Unfortunately, most of them are very processed and taste quite terrible. In the best scenario, these products are made of soybeans and taste all the same way. This is why in our company, we focus so much on the quality and delicious taste of our products. It is so important that to us, and it can be seen even in numbers. More people work in quality and new products development departments than in our marketing and sales team. Thanks to the unique production technology, our products contains more protein and more fibers than chicken breast, and of course, it has no antibiotics and cholesterol. Moreover, thanks to the combination of two sources of proteins, beans and wheat, it has a full aminogram, which means that it contains all the essential amino acids that the human body needs. We do not use any enhancers, and we are proud of its pure composition. In short, our mission is to provide a product that will smoothly replace chicken meat in the kitchen, in every kitchen. Poland right now is the largest poultry exporter in the European Union. Largest poultry exporter in the European Union, of course. Our goal is to maintain this status, but we want our plant-based poultry meat to be this export product. Our portfolio includes marinated products similar to diced and marinated chicken breast, and our top seller, crunchy, golden, plant-based strips, which you would confuse with the hot wings of one of the famous fast food chains. Our new brand, Apollo, will be released very soon, which will be completely new standard on the shelf. Thanks to the modern design and trays that contain 70% less plastic than traditional trays. They are mainly made out of paper. Here you can see the tray. and even more delicious products. That's the goal for the new brand. And I hope that soon I will be able to bring all those products to you personally. And with food, you should always try it first. Even the best presentation cannot replace it. So thank you very, very much for this short presentation, and enjoy the rest of our Polish goodies.
That's so exciting, Joanna, to hear that. Very excited to see your success, and we are very excited to see possibly to have the opportunity to taste your product here in our kingdom as well. Thank you so much for being with us here, and we hope to see more progress from you.
Yeah, hope to see that. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.
Bye. All right, there you go. That was Apollo and the Krushak Company Limited, giving us an insight on the future of how, we have a variety of different products on the market already in terms of being plant-based and being very delicious. But definitely with this new product coming from Poland, I myself am very excited to see how it will taste. And unfortunately, we cannot share that taste with you online right now. But we'll see. Maybe in the future, technology will help us. Anyways, moving on from poultry and chicken, we now head to something that I'm sure everyone loves as well, and that is yogurt. We have various plant-based yogurt out there, but have you ever really tasted bean yogurt? This is the world's first bean yogurt. It's bean. It was mentioned before by the co-founders of FoodTech where it is the first of its kind. It doesn't have a lot of protein. It does have a lot of protein. It's produced from local raw materials with a low carbon footprint and no gluten. I myself probably am not a good person to give you all the details. Why not hear it from the co-founder of the company, Cool Beans Company Limited herself, on what we should expect from her company. That is Miss Paulina Barosu.
Hello, everyone. As you already heard, I'm Paulina Barros, and I have the pleasure to introduce you to Bean. Can I have my slides, please? Okay, so seeing the title, you might be wondering, bean yogurt? Why? Isn't normal yogurt good enough? Well, they are certainly delicious. They are perfect for breakfast, snacking, even for cooking, and they are pretty healthy. They provide protein, calcium, and live culture bacteria for healthy guts. So why the beans? I'm telling you, yogurt can be much better. As we get older, majority of us will have some problems with digesting either protein or sugars that is typical to cow milk. And for those that don't have these unpleasant symptoms after eating milk, they should also consider limiting dairy consumption because of ethical or environmental reasons. It is proven that milk production has a really negative impact on our planet. It consumes 3 times more water and land, and at the same time, it produces 3 times more CO2 than production of any other plant-based alternative. So I hope that at this point it's clear that the world really needs better yogurt. But if my words are not enough to you, well, let the market speak. The value of vegan yogurt is growing globally. It is expected to reach $6.5 billion by 2027. And in Poland, plant-based yogurts were fastest growing category of the entire market of plant-based food. But there is just one problem. The choice we have is very limited. The majority of products is either soya or coconut-based. And soya is an allergen, so it's not a good solution for everyone. And on the other hand, it's so overused, as Apollo already said, the majority of plant-based products is based on soy, that it became really controversial, and they taste quite different than typical yogurt. And on the other hand, we have coconut, and coconut might be delicious, but the problem is their nutritional profile. It provides almost no protein and just saturated fats. And that's why we created our bean-based solution. So through numerous tests, we made sure it doesn't only taste great, but it provides optimal nutrition. So it has as much protein and calcium as typical cow yogurt, but at the same time, it's just half of its sugar and almost no saturated fats. It's also allergen-free, so it can be a solution for almost everyone. And why did we decide to work with white beans? First of all, they allow us to obtain this optimal nutritional profile. But what is also important to our company, the beans are locally sourced and they improve soil fertility and biodiversity. As I mentioned before, I am a dietitian, and so is my co-founder, Kasia. We've been working together for several years in one of the top home-delivered dietary caterings in Poland, and we were working in recipe development. And that's where we learned that it's very important for the food not only be healthy, but also taste great. Otherwise, no one wants to eat it. So when we're developing new products, we always focus on three main things: the optimal taste, optimal health and nutritional profile, and on the low environmental impact. Right now, our product portfolio consists of 4 products, 4 different flavors. We have plain yogurt, apple yogurt, raspberry with chocolate, and our newest winter edition, gingerbread with plum. We sell our products through 2 main channels. One is to direct consumer in small jars. We do it via our online store and via retailers. And the bigger containers for B2B channel, like vegan restaurants and dietary caterings. And where we are right now. So we just started our production plant a couple of months ago in July. And then we started distribution. First in local organic shops, in specialty stores, like vegan brands. And in the following months, we were developing distribution. In October, we managed to close the biggest test sale in Biedronka. That is the largest retailer chains in Poland. And what's come next? Well, for sure, we're going to focus on developing distribution. We are still speaking with and negotiating deals with big retailers and distributors. And of course, we are working on another products. Also new flavors, new packaging. But what's also even more exciting, there are new products based on beans. We really believe that beans have huge potential, and much of it is still undiscovered. And we hope to really introduce you more exciting bean products. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Paulina, for sharing your product with us. And it's very interesting to see. Maybe we have a little time before we go to the next group. I want to ask you a question. What sparked your inspiration into getting into beans and figuring out that would be another good alternative to making plant-based yogurt?
We hear this question quite often, and it's not only because beans are white like milk, of course.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But it's not the main one. But yes, we really focus on the beans because of this nutritional profile. They are a good source of protein, like other legumes. But what's important, they are not allergens, so they are very suitable for other people that have some intolerances. Because it's very important to us. We are both dietitians, as I mentioned, so this nutritional profile of beans, it's perfect. But we also wanted something local that will not imported from far away and would be really good for the environment. So beans really tick all these boxes, good for the health of human and good for the planet. And of course, the taste and the color.
That's a very good fact there, and I'm so happy to see that it's one of a kind. I myself have tried. I think I've tried both alternatives, soy and coconut yogurts, but I'm very interested to see what white beans would taste like, and hopefully we can taste it here in the Kingdom of Thailand soon. You can
Yes,
try
I
and
hope
send
so
us some.
too.
Anyways, thank you so much, Pauline, and
Thank you.
we hope to see you soon.
Thank you. See you.
Okay. All right, so that was Paulina, from the Cool Beans Company Limited about yogurt. And, we've talked about plant-based yogurt, we've talked about plant-based pastry, but what about something that is more meaty, right? What about minced meat? Well, Nyolona is a vegetable substitute for minced meat with a texture very similar to beef, fortified with vitamins, and that is very necessary for vegans. And so it is a pleasure, yet again, for me to listen and learn more about another plant-based substitute company that is making their mark in Poland and, of course, soon the rest of the world. So please welcome Ms. Martina Polak, the co-founder and Chief Marketing Officer of Nyolona, as well as Mr. Andy Steiniak, the co-founder and Chief Executive Officer of Nyolona as well, showcasing their plant-based substitute for minced meat.
Hello, my name is Andy.
Hello, my name is Martyna.
Thank you for having us today, and please show us our presentation. Nyolona, as you see, is a plant-based minced meat made from vegetable protein that behaves, looks, and tastes like really raw meat. Few words about ourselves. Me and Martyna love food. When we were young, we prepared all kinds of dishes, and we created a bunch of our own recipes. We gained a lot of experience working in the food service industry as a workers and also as a managers. And for over the past 4 years, we opened our own coffee house, an ice cream parlor with our own recipes for real natural ice creams, and a vegan restaurant. And now we are focusing on Nyolona. And from our experience, we know what our customers are looking for and what they expect from food. And now we also know how to provide it for them.
Thanks to observing our customers and contacting them, we know that they really want to eat healthy and tasty, but these days meat contains quite a lot of antibiotics. They also want to be planet-friendly and eat planet-friendly, but industrial livestock farming is destroying environment. And people these days are really caring for animal welfare. And taking all of this together brings question what to eat to many people. And we believe that an answer to this question might be to eat the same dishes, but just in a new way, using new products or new ways of preparing these dishes. And Nyolona is also an answer to this question.
Nyolona is for vegans and vegetarians, but we know that this is a small percentage of our population, and we are focusing on flexitarians. And flexitarians are people that reduce their meat in their diet. And there are almost 50% of our population. And in this graph, we can show that only reaching a small percentage, a fraction of flexitarian, we can change a mindset of the whole population and make a great business out of it.
So you might think, why Mielona? First of all, it's multifunctional. It tastes and works really well. Also in homemade kitchen, in your home, and also in gastronomy. You can prepare spaghetti with Mielona. You can prepare meatballs with it. And also you can prepare any dish from traditional cuisine around the world. It's also very effective. Mielona almost doesn't reduce. It reduces only about 6%, while regular meat evaporates from 20 to 30%. And also, its taste and structure are really good. As you can see in this film, this product is just like meatballs here.
I would like to introduce to you Agata and her husband Mateusz. As you see, they are farmers. And Agata reached us a few months ago telling us a story that she made a dish with Mielona. She created burgers for her whole family. And they ate it and said they were really great. But then she revealed that there are no, like a regular burgers with beef, there are burgers with Mielona. And they didn't see any difference. And this makes us, as a founders, very happy that we can reach a farmer that have a bunch of cows and eat beef regularly, eat Mielona, and say that they are the same for him.
Moreover, Mielona has got some unique features that makes people believe that it's worth trying. First of all, it's enriched with iron. It contains 3 times more iron than regular meat. It's really nutritious. It contains all amino acids that your body needs. And it's also GMO and gluten-free. As you can see in the picture, there are 2 versions of the product right now. We've got Mielona based on peas and the other one, soy-based version. The product is now stored in a fridge. Its shelf life is 45 days, but we could make it even longer without adding any preservatives. Here you can see what's inside of the package.
Mielona, we want to have in every store in Poland, because we know that with those channels, with retail, we can reach everybody, almost everybody. And 1/5 of our sales are gonna go through Horeca, because we don't not only sell Mielona in small packages for the retail, but also big bags of 1 kilo of Mielona for restaurants, and 1/10 of our sales is through our own e-commerce. So what's next? Now we are focusing on develop new meat replacements and also ready-to-eat meals, because we know that ready-to-eat meals are gonna grow in Poland. We're also increasing our production capacity to keep up with our demand, because we want to deliver Mielona to every store. And in the next year, we are entering big sales chains in Poland. In 2 years, we are going international. So when you want to contact us, don't hesitate. We would like to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, Martina and Andy, you said that you want to talk, so let's talk. Thank you again for sharing your product with us and your company's success so far. It's very interesting how you talked about how you grew from having your own coffee shop, ice cream parlor, vegan restaurant to now having your own product. What made you think, or what inspired you to jump into creating a product like Mielona? Sorry.
So about 2 years ago, when we opened our vegan restaurant, we noticed that on our market there are no good quality meat replacements. There were some, but
Okay, we seem to have some technical difficulties. I think maybe perhaps we might have lost Miss Martina and Mr. Andy from Neolona. Do, of course, apologize for any technical difficulties because all of our speakers, as you've seen here, are live streaming and talking to us live from Poland. And so it is a privilege indeed that the technology has allowed us to talk to them, but at the same time, sometimes things can go wrong. So I'm going to see if we can get them back, but if we can't, then let me just summarize what each group has said so far. With Neolona, they've said that they are, we have seen here in Thailand a lot of various plant-based meat products that are coming out. Actually, they've been coming out really fast this past year. And so it's very interesting to see that now we're seeing the boom in the similar products that we're seeing here with Neolona and the Polish startups that have come to our sessions today to talk about how they have developed their products. There's also the issue of the change in lifestyles. And it's interesting to see. Actually, I was going to ask Neolona about how they're planning to create ready-to-eat meals, because that's one of the things I think a lot of people may have a struggle with when they are changing their diets or trying to change into more healthier or plant-based diet that is more sustainable, because with this rapidly changing world that we live in, a lot of us don't have time. So definitely it's going to be very interesting to see how that will play out. Let me summarize the other companies that we had learned about or talked about or heard from. We had earlier Apollo, plant-based chicken alternative, that talked about how in spite of the fact that they just recently been launched, has been very popular indeed in Poland and has been mentioned as even more popular against competing companies from overseas. And they are now looking to go international. We also had the It's Bean yogurt, the world's first yogurt that's made by or from white beans. So it is very interesting indeed, because in Thailand we've seen various forms, or the rest of the world, various forms of yogurt, whether they be coming from coconut or soy, but with beans coming into play, that could definitely be a game changer in getting people to get involved in more healthier lifestyles. With that in mind, we're very excited as well to hear from the accelerator from the Poland country, as they are trying to get more cooperation and collaboration to build up Poland's unique food tech ecosystem, as we heard there from the speakers who said that Food Tech Act Poland is working to try and support startups to go and scale overseas. And that is exactly what we are doing as well here in Thailand. And we've seen a lot of various developments. And as mentioned by the ambassador, we are the ambassadors both in Thailand and in Poland. There is going to be even more activities next year as we celebrate for the anniversary of relations between Poland and Thailand. The team, our Texas team, has said that they are hoping that Neolona will come back to our screen. We're working to see if that is possible. Hopefully we can, because I am excited to see how they are planning to scale or go abroad. I'm sure a lot of startups who are watching or joining us here today want to know as well as to perhaps maybe their tips or what they can share with us into how they are planning to scale onwards to the international market. But as has been mentioned, despite the fact that we've seen a lot of attention in startups getting involved in the food tech industry. As we've seen from our first keynote session by Thai Union, corporates or big companies are also playing a bigger role as well, and getting into the game of food tech. And food tech is not only just something that is theoretically something good for the planet or something that possibly people think may not make a lot of money, but with the pandemic or the COVID-19 outbreak, it is very obvious. And we see it now that our lives have been changed forever. People are more focused on their health. People are more focused on living better. And a lot of attention is going towards having better, healthier lifestyles. And that spells out better food. Not only is it good for our bodies, but also it is good for the planet in reducing, the production or the resources that we need to use. Niluna, you're back. I am so happy that you are back. Okay, so going back to that question, can you finish off and tell us what made you jump from, having your own already quite successful businesses, I'm sure, and creating this new product?
Of course. So, like 2 years ago, when we opened our vegan restaurant, we noticed that on the market are no good quality meat replacements. And not only the quality was poor, but the taste was also terrible. And
okay, thank you for being frank. Yes, for a non-vegan, well, I tried to eat vegan a few years ago, and it was quite challenging sometimes. Yes, go on. Sorry.
Yes, we know. So when we opened our vegan restaurant, the main goal was to create something from vegetables that taste good, but we didn't aim to make meat replacements back then. And we saw then that we have a good opportunity to create something that not only tastes good, but also is nutritious. And so we just talked with Martina, and we were thinking, so
what to do now?
We
have to change it.
Yeah.
When our friends and family, we're both vegetarians, and when our friends and family knew about it, then they asked us, well, so what do you eat now? You only eat tomatoes, cucumber, and stuff. And we knew it's not like that, but we also knew that many people in the world think like that they have no idea what to eat when they don't eat meat. So we just wanted to help them to imagine what they could prepare with vegetables, because there are really often the same kinds of dishes, and that's just it.
Yeah, I think it's very exciting. I've had a feeling sometimes as well as a person who's like not 100% like vegan or 100% vegetable. I could probably be categorized somewhat in certain times like flexi. What did you say?
Flexitarian.
Flexitarian sometimes, right? But sometimes people do feel like, oh, you know what? I mean, might as well just eat vegetables. I mean, why try to make something that is like impossible, like to make in terms of something like that meat, because it just doesn't feel natural. But how has it been in terms of the feedback to your product?
Well, you mean the fact that it's not like a pea, but a pea in a version of meat, right?
Yes.
Okay, so mostly people are really impressed that it's possible, and there are mostly those positive words about the product, and the fact that also people who eat meat regularly can just cut down a little bit amount of meat they eat is really good for them, for their health, for the environment. And when people understand it, then they understand also that the way it's produced is not made with any artificial additives that aren't needed here. The color in our product is just from juice of beetroot or carrot. So it's all natural in here. And we wanted to compromise also the tastes, nutritional values, and also a clean label. So these are the arguments that here can really help us convincing those unconvinced.
Yeah, there's actually this year, I don't know if you've heard, but in Thailand, we have more and more products now that are plant-based. We have, even as has been mentioned, even though you have those big brands coming from the United States, that are plant-based meats products. Here in Thailand, we also have our own locally made brands that are plant-based as well, and they're really coming very hard right now this year in 2021 towards the end. Is it a similar trend in Poland right now?
Well, we see that there are more brands showing up here. Like 2 or 3 years ago, when we started thinking about it, then it was like not too many options for people who'd like to find a product that is plant-based here. I mean, plant-based and tastes like meat. And there are more brands showing up. So I think it's similar in Poland right now.
But we see, yes, I wanted to add that there will be few big brands in Europe, like here in Poland. Hopefully, Nielona and Kurczak will be on the top.
Yes.
We also know that in few years there will be like I can say like a vegan butcher in every town. Someone that creates their own vegan version of meat or sausages, and something like this. So few big brands and a lot of
local ones. Yeah, but also we know it's coming, but in the same time we know that still people are growing up to this point, and in just few more years and we'll be there.
I think that's really interesting, and that's the first time I've actually heard of that idea or perspective that in the future we shouldn't just like group all plant-based meat or plant-based products in one single like entity, because as you mentioned, everyone has their own taste and preference. Everyone can have their own kind of brand or own kind of meat. That's interesting. Yeah, it's like, oh, is this plant-based from Europe or is this plant-based meat from Thailand? And you mentioned that you want to scale up, you want to go international. With a lot of players around already, how are you planning to scale outside to the international market right now?
So this is a hard question, but we challenged ourselves to scale up. Almost every month we double our sales. So we just know that in few months or 1 year ahead of us, we will be ready to have such a big production plan that we can go abroad with our product, especially with the longer shelf life. Like Martina mentioned, we have now 45 days of shelf life.
Wow, okay, that's good.
With no adding of any preservatives, and this will help us to export to other countries as well.
Yes, and now we're just talking about Nielona. We're planning to prepare more products. We've got many ideas and we already know how to produce them. So it's just a matter of time that we'll become bigger and the product will find a place in a shelf life for itself.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing your story. I can't wait to taste your product here, on the shelves in Thailand. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming by. Okay, that was a very successful story indeed, coming from Andy and Martina about Nielona and how they're changing not only the way people are viewing plant-based meat in Poland, but also in the rest of the world. We hope that you had a great day or great time with us here on our sessions. We hope we have inspired you. We hope that we have given you some knowledge that you can use in your own business or your own lives. And definitely it has been a pleasure of mine to be a part of this event today. So as I leave you, I'd like to welcome back Mr. Norbert Bach, the head of the Foreign Trade Office, Bangkok Polish Investment and Trade Agency, to wrap up the talks and give the closing speech.
Okay, so I would like to thank you to all speakers today for their input and presentation. But first of all, to all the participants of our today session, I hope that after today, in terms of the food tech sector, Poland and Thailand will not be as distant as you perceived before. Please note that the goal of the day was to introduce the latest food tech trends, both from Thailand and from Poland, but also to generate some ideas for the future. So, of course, if you want to explore some more from the companies you've heard today or from the Food Tech Accelerator, you can contact them directly. Just give me a second to share my final slide. Okay. So in case you want to contact us and talk about any other ideas from Poland Food Tech, have some brainstorming or some discussion, please drop us an email. We are more than happy to have you over for coffee, discuss any ideas. Let's see what the brainstorming gives to us. Our office is in Bangkok, in central area close to Asok, so quite easy to contact us. So with that being said, I want to thank you all again. I hope you all to stay safe and hope to see you soon. Sawadee krap.